right, welcome to episode 50 of the Dragon's Tome. It's also issue 50 of Dragon Magazine we're talking about. Going through chronologically. We've made it through 50 issues, boyos. I'm Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Jobber.
And this is the 5th anniversary issue, because it's 5th year, but it's also 50th issue, which we'll get to. And the cover is a dragon, obviously, by Carl Lundgren. And it's a green dragon, a little green dragon, hoarding over a big hoard and a skeleton.
It was chained. Now, is this a floating castle? Or is this just a castle so high in the mountains that it's peaking above the clouds?
That is a question for the gods.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is this dragon wearing a necklace?
And earrings.
He's OG.
Oh, yeah. He's got
And
earrings on his
wing
wings. Yeah, wing
Yep.
rings.
As it turns out, it's a very dragon-heavy issue, but I think this fits the magazine itself, and I like the new take. It's different. I would do a double look at this.
Yeah. The dragon's wings are very tiny, though. I don't know if they could hold him in flight.
He's like one of those little peach dragon.
He's only like maybe twice as big as a human size,
He's
so
only
like
a baby. He's
only
a baby.
It's a baby.
What you're not seeing is his mother just off camera. That's who took the picture, maybe.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time. It's Dragon Christmas.
It's right.
The rest of the dragons are around
and
singing happy birthday. Blow out your skeleton.
Yes. Anyways, that's a cover. We'll go down to Dragon Rumbles. Like I said last time, Kim Mohan takes over for the Rumbles. 50th issue and 5th birthday, he says just coincidence. And no, that's a super boring column. There's nothing to talk about. It sucked. It was the worst Dragon Rumbles maybe ever. So fuck you, Kim Mohan.
He's the worst editor-in-chief ever.
Let's hope he gets a twisted bowel soon and has to leave.
Or someone has to go in there. Jesus.
I don't know where twisted bowel came into it.
I thought you were going to say get his sea legs under him or, finds his stride. No, needs to be manually disimpacted by a surgeon is the verdict.
Yep, it's true.
Dragon Magazine Court. Rob is the harshest judge.
Yes. Down with Mohan. Jack, what is your first article? Since we'll skip this crap ton of Dragon Rumbles.
Well, thankfully, we all know that Kim Mohan must have perished already. So canonically, if we don't
never
know,
looked them up.
They are dead. So you got your wish. Okay. On episode 50, I would like us all to go to page 32, if you wouldn't mind.
Don't look. It's a.
It's up. Don't look at that.
Yes.
I am literally just going to mock and ridicule this article. So if someone had something about this article, if you want to come to Lewis Pulsifer's defense.
It's Pulsifer. We've had Pulsifer before.
Really?
I think we make fun of him every single time.
My God. He starts out and he says, when you look at Medusa, it's based on this simple role. Why would it be like that? It shouldn't be. And you follow along. You go, okay, sure, Lewis. Oh, I'm willing to follow you along. Yeah, it's weird that intelligence makes it so that you don't, or dexterity, whatever it is. Go on for 4 pages. It's not 4 pages. It's a full 2 pages of mathematical formulas to determine whether you glance and are affected by the look of a Medusa. There are modifiers upon charts that have more modifiers. By the time you were done seeing if a party had, in fact, been enticed to look at the face of a Gorgon, people would just have died of natural causes and then been petrified at the gaming table. Just scroll down, and it's.
I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, oh my God, this is.
It's
ridiculous.
only 2 pages. Or does it continue on?
I did my hyperbole when I said that it was full pages. It's 2 pages, but still.
There is a lot of intelligence is 3. Add 2 to the roll. 4 to 5, add 1. If wisdom is 3, add 3 to the roll. Yeah. Maybe
No thank.
I can't do the math. I forgot. Am I adding 2 or adding 3?
I, like a fool, took the premise that Lewis had put before me, and I went, yes, I would like to sample this little treat you're going to give me. And it was soot and poo. It was a treat of soot and poo.
Nice.
Soot and
Soot
poo.
and poo. It's in my sex tape. Anyways, Pat, what do you got?
Let's go to page 15.
Going back. We thought you'd do the dragons. That's why I left the dragons to you.
Yeah. This is by Colin Bishop. It was only until after I read it that I realized that I was dealing, and this is going to sound a little sexist, but I was like, this is not our typical author that I'm reading. These actually make sense. Some of these things actually make sense.
So it's sex against men.
Like, these are actual, like, okay, I get it. Because it's a nice little article on how to hatch and raise a dragon should you come in to get a dragon egg and want to raise it. But our good friend, Colleen Bishop, was the one who did it, and she put together, I thought it was a very nice course article. And there's nice charts, but they're not ridiculous, like what's-his-face? Pulsifer? There's little 5 lines, and it's just percentage.
And there's even a little cartoon in the article.
Mm-hmm. And then you get, and it just reads to the different steps as they get older, what you would need to do, and as the abilities start to hatch, as they get bigger, then they start to get their abilities, and there's a bonus chance they'll start using their spells before they talk. Not that I'd ever use this, because I don't think I'd ever let anyone raise a dragon.
Well, it matters how long it takes. Like, if it takes years, sure, you can have a baby dragon you have to take care of.
Yeah.
And that'd be, it'd almost be a disadvantage to have a baby dragon around.
Well, sure, and it does take years upon years, is what she writes down in here. Because they get old. They're like, I guess, like dogs. They grow really quickly in the first couple of years, and then you just kind of stay that giant size forever. But yeah, again, I mean, I wouldn't have any need for any of this because I would never really do it. But I just thought it was a nice little article, and then
it was actually interesting.
I thought it was funny that it was put together fairly well. The numbers made sense, and I found out that it was a woman, not a man. I was like, oh, maybe that's why she's not.
The maternal instincts, you could just get through the writing, the care and the...
Yeah.
It's like they probably have a child and they just applied what they knew about children to dragons.
But it made it all work. Because, like, again, we don't have crazy charts like what's-his-face.
Well, it wasn't even charts. His was like a formula. I like charts, don't like formulas. It's the way it should be.
100%. I will call out bad, unnecessary, clunky math every time.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to talk about raising a baby dragon?
I mean, she even goes into the feeding of the dragon.
There you go. And the imprinting. I do have a Mohan update. I decided to look him up when Jack was prattling on. Mohan's alive. He's 73 years old. He eventually becomes responsible for Unearthed Arcana, so he's not all bad, I guess. We can't blame him for everything, because Unearthed Arcana is a gem. So
never heard of it.
Yeah. So and get used to him, because he stays as editor for a long time. So we get used to old Kimmy boy. We have to embrace him.
All right.
My article is on page 34, probably. I'm guessing. Yes, 34. The reason I this article, it was like, whatever. It's glyphs, and you can even read the word glyph in the title because it looks like
Yeah, I
chicken
couldn't
scratch.
figure out what that was.
It's some kind of glyphs of Cerulean, whatever. It's kind of neat, the idea of glyphs in the game. But the reason this caught my eye is the name, Larry DiTilio. I was like, I recognize that name. So I looked him up, and the reason I recognize his name, he co-wrote Masks of Nyarlathotep for Call of Cthulhu in a couple years. He wrote most of the Master Universe cartoon. He created She-Ra, and he eventually wrote on Babylon 5 and Transformers Beast Wars and animated. So this guy, no wonder I know his name. He's been on everything I ever watched. so this is
He's
like
the real deal.
Yeah, this is one of like the first times in print was this glyphs article.
So he's the reason why He-Man's covered in glyphs.
Maybe. He's still alive. He's 71. And the glyphs are kind of neat. There's tons of them. There's like they go into the back of the book too. There's
I know. It goes on forever.
But it might be fun to have an enemy who kept putting glyphs everywhere, so the players have to start recognizing the glyph to know which one's which. That'd be kind of fun.
But start documenting them and creating a catalog and then figure out something at the end.
Even using
puzzle
against
like
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
at the end where it's like, okay, the big bad, this is the climax, and everything you've learned about the glyphs will allow you to do something. Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a really long article. I think the smarter someone is, the longer the articles, because Len Lakofa's articles are always ridiculously long, and this guy's also very long. So I think there's they're long, probably very interesting, but too long to read. TLDR. TLDR? Yes. Well, I did, but it took me a long time to read it. Anyways, that was my little history of Larry DiTilio. We have to keep it. I like finding these people and like recognizing names and looking them up. It's kind of fun. So
there are so many glyphs. Do you think he made all these glyphs up?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It all comes in glyphs of warding. I guess it's a spell that you can get in a cleric spell. So he just kind of went off that and made literally like 100 glyphs.
But no, that's a good eye. I wouldn't even have known that one person was responsible for all those quality things.
I mean, glyphs play a big part in Call of Cthulhu too.
Yeah, I wonder, especially Master Nyarlathotep. So, anyways, that was my article. On to Jack again.
Me? What the heck? I thought I just did one.
You did, but me and Pat are quick like bunnies.
Okay, well, I am... Did we already do Up in a Soapbox 54?
Nope, not this one. That was one of mine, too.
Okay, then we'll just hop up over to 54. Good DM can cure bad behavior, and we don't need to pontificate too much on it, but it is basically, hey, this can happen. We've D&D's been around this much time. These are the things that have cropped up, and these are the things that you can do in a very constructive way to correct it. And some of the highlights were things that I was like, oh yeah, that's almost normal now. Like that is probably, things that have now just become stock standard in a game group. So yeah, it's yeah,
I found some of the things are still around though, but he's pretty much like, be decisive, don't argue, just don't change your minds, just what it is, you're the GM. And, but he also said it's not to punish people for bad behavior, just try to correct it in game. And there's this idea of a caller. I've never heard of this before. Lately this has been coming up a lot. The idea of that there's one representative of the group in non-combat situations. I'm like, well, that kind of takes role-playing out of the game.
Yeah.
I understand in tournaments you need somebody like that maybe, but even then, it's supposed to be a role-playing game. Everybody should be able to, you don't have to okay, tell them this. I'm not allowed to talk to the GM.
Yeah.
I think it's more in, okay, where are we going? And everyone kind of gives that person the authority to go, okay, we're going to go north.
Well, we're
going to do this. Like, I think
it's more of a leader, but not.
Yeah. The one that so that it's not, again, like you said, I see that almost all the time now where as soon as you're out of combat and it's time to do something, streamline the game, get things going, It's that one person going, hey, what are we going to do? We're going to do this? Okay, what we're going to do is, yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm always that person. I don't listen to other people. Maybe I've never noticed that there's something called color. Yeah, he also says don't play late because tired players play bad and angry easily. That would have taken out all of our high school years. We played like 24/7 for like weekends on a time. He says incorporate breaks also, which is, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the break always happened where like, okay, let's get something
Smoke
to
them
eat.
if you got them.
Yeah, we'll go back at it. Don't allow distractions is another one of those things, which nowadays, imagine cell phones. This poor guy would die. Poor Thomas Griffith.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I got a tweet about this. Hold on.
Yeah. And he also says to use minis in combat, which is, I don't believe in, but that's the common thing now. Yep. And he also says be a good DM and also be dedicated, because that's the key. Don't flake out. But yeah, good. It's actually very useful if you want to be a GM or a DM. This is very useful information, I think. That it's almost like a basic guide. Read this article if you want to start GMing, because it'll give you at least a baseline of how to run things.
Because all those things will happen, whether it start right from the get-go or once the game group finds its footing and starts to, all those things will happen. You'll know which of the people will argue, which of the people will rules lawyer, which of them will be nattering and not paying attention, and just keep it going. Come on, people.
Yeah. And it's good. Like you said, like it used to be that if someone was like that, you just kill them. Like it would just, now it's like, no, you just play in game, do stuff to them in game where they're like, just slightly punish them. Just be like, no, pay attention. Oh, you didn't notice this? Yeah, it's because you were on your phone. Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned it, but clearly talking about Dragon Ball Z to Stan over there is more important.
Not like Jack knows this from experience.
Names have been changed to protect the innocent.
It wasn't me, and I've never watched Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. That was Jax, I believe, I jumped in on. So, Pat, what's your next one?
Let's go to Age Fitty.
Fitty.
This is the ups and downs of riding high.
And we don't mean high. Roger Moore.
So, this article I wish I'd known about, because in, I'd say about 2 to 3 more years, a movie called Clash of the Titans will come out with Harry Hamlin.
Yep.
And everyone I play D&D with is going to want a flying mount because of that movie. And if I had known that this article had existed, I would have used it in my D&D campaign, because this tells you how to care for your flying mount.
How much it cost?
How much it costs, how fast it flies, what it eats.
Disadvantages, which is nice.
Yes, and advantages. So it's a nice little article, basic guideline for flying mounts. Most of these are taken right out of the monster manual.
I do like how it's like creature, like dragon white, and then disadvantages, and it has all disadvantages. And like you just look them up, like he has a list, so you just have to, they're not listed under each one. You could just look, like, they share disadvantages, which is cool.
Yeah, which I thought was great too. And then I like the diet, because I was thinking, if you don't know how to take care of a manticore, should you want one in his mouth, you have to feed it human.
Yeah, it's going to starve to death if you don't kill people for it. And the alignments too. You want an alignment that's similar to yours, I would assume.
Yes, you don't want a lawful evil.
Maybe you do. That would cause some fun, especially if it's an intelligent creature. Who's your mount?
Like a nightmare. There's a nightmare in here, but
there's a lot of odd things. Yeah,
but definitely, if you were making an adventure and you you wanted to add an element, because it would blow players' minds if you said, "Okay, well, all you have to do is get on this.
Manticore.
These are your manticores. You need to do this, and this." And here's
Manticore's such an odd one because he's very humanoid. I'm a little creeped out about climbing on his back.
Excuse me, what are you doing back there?
Yeah. Can we just say Pegasus?
Yeah.
I like the Manticore because he can just at any point take his spiked tail and shoot you in the back.
Yeah, he doesn't like you.
Honk. Yeah, but you'd have this, and it would be just a wild small little section where you could just do something, but it's still grounded in enough,
like
crunchiness that.
Even if you had a Pegasus, how useful would that be really? Sure, you get to fly, but it gets tired. It still has to land. It's, you can only fly for a certain amount of times. And
it can't carry too much because it has to fly.
So, I mean, like say there is disadvantages. So, as long as you play it correctly, it's not too OP to give them certain creatures. Like, it'd be way OP to give them a dragon or something. But if you're high level, I guess. But then you have to deal with high level things. Otherwise, your dragon could just solve all your issues.
I mean, some of them are, a dragon, a little too much. Pegasus, not so much. Even a griffin.
Or a rock.
Or a rock.
It's a bird. Yeah.
A sphinx, maybe. I mean, if you're lawful evil, you might even be able to get a nightmare in addition to, or in retrospect, or what's the word I'm looking for? In lieu of a Pegasus.
Yeah. Or a wyvern.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool.
It's a nice little article, and, had I wished that I'd known that this was out around that time, all I'd do was just go get an old issue.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier. It's funny, all the games I've played, I've never wanted a flying mount. It never even occurred to me to want a flying mount. Like all the games I've ever played.
It's not true.
World of Warcraft has taught us that you need flying mounts, but before that, I don't think it was the thing. Like say Clash of Titans, I think that for a while there, everybody wanted one, and then it kind of just wore away.
Oh, it went ballistic at Clash of the Titans.
I would have just wanted a small clockwork owl. I'd have been happy with that.
I just wanted Harry Hamlin. Now I wanted. What's that thing that comes out of the water? Oh, it's not Kraken, isn't it? It's
a stepbrother. It's
that big thing. Yeah, stop motion.
Oh no, the Kraken comes out of the water.
It does it. Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
Anyways, fun times. My next one, I think, is my last one. It's on page 74, I believe. 74. Yep, another cartoon. Because it's the very first one. It's the guy with the gun, or it's the GM with a gun, and he just shot one of his players, and the quote is, very touchy about alignment deviations. I laughed. I was like, that's pretty funny. And the other people are like shocked because he just shot the guy because he didn't play his alignment.
Yeah, that would be the appropriate response.
I thought it was just quite humorous. These little these mirth things are actually getting funny. There's a funny one once in a while. It's weird.
A couple of these ones, I was like, oh, we're starting to get a better group of them. A little more. I
like the one shots. I don't like the actual long ones, but like there's another one where the guard it says 85 hit points on his chest, and he said, not really. It just puts off the literate monsters. It's pretty funny. It's funny. Dragon mirth. So that was a quick one. Jack, you got any more?
I have an ad.
I have ads also.
I have two more, but we'll make them very quick.
Okay.
63 will be the quickest of the two.
63.
It's the Dragon's Beast Bestiary. And it's the giant vampire frog. I just really think that this is the most ridiculous creature I've ever seen in my life.
I do love that picture, though. The frog about to jump the guy's back.
The frog jumping at his back made me laugh, which is what made me want to do this article. Because I read the thing, I go, this is the dumbest animal I've ever seen. Just vampire frog. Stupid.
You saw him jumping.
But no, the picture itself is comical. It makes me laugh.
Okay.
But the beast itself, stupid.
It's based on the actual flying toad from a issue of Omni magazine.
Well,
I used to get Omni magazine also.
Stupid. All right.
Stupid flying frogs, yes.
Stupid frog. Done with that. And then we'll go to page 18. I thought one of you guys might actually pick this, but then...
No. I'm not into cat. I'm not a cat person.
Well, I'm not so much into cat, but this is also a Star Trek race that...
It's actually like a Ringworld race that they're porting over from. And boy, oh boy, the text, you could not get this to fly in today's 2022.
Oh, no. Not when it comes to talking about the females?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I wonder if... At first I was like, well, maybe they don't know how big cats, their society.
Yeah, it's the opposite. Yeah.
It's the exact opposite. I was like, oh, okay. Well, they're
Yep.
probably trying to do this thing. Well, you know what? I'm just skinning over a human with a cat. I gotta just switch some stuff around so that no one knows. And then
It's based on the Ring World. Maybe in the Ring World books, the
Well, this article was written by Mr. Plamondon.
yes.
And this race was discovered by Larry Niven from Ringworld and brought into his books. And I think this is him porting that into D&D, this Robert Plamondon.
Yeah.
And I don't know if in Larry Niven's science fiction books or in Ringworld, this is how the societal cat works for them, or this is
something you put onto it. Yeah,
something you put into it, because it is.
Well, if anybody's read these Ringworld books,
actually backwards.
Yeah, are these cat people very misogynistic, or is it Robert Plamondon who's misogynistic? Please,
because like you
comment
said,
below.
In the big cat world, the male is the lazy.
Yeah.
And the females do all the protecting and the fighting.
But these are aliens. They're not cats. They just look like cats. So.
But they do say that the females of this race are semi-intelligent. They're far more primitive. And I'm like, well, okay, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But they're also helpless physically. So they're not smart. They're not. And I'm thinking now, what? It sounds like they're pets more than a thing. What do these brave warriors get out of mounting these physically helpless?
Yeah. As we speak, people are freaking out about some from other games, various races, how they were described. Yeah, if they read this nowadays, it would be definitely shut down.
Oh yeah, the Twitter sphere lost its fool mind for 4 months over something minor. This, well, the remaining Gygax, I think if he's one of our watchers of our videos and he sees this, he'll start jotting that down. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
let me see.
He'll have to add it to his thing. But yeah, I doubt after what we said about his father, I doubt we'll have him as a listener.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But just poured it in. It was a decent article as far as, I mean, they're standing sociological questioning on some of these things. It does put together a nice little cat race should you want one.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of this I would probably take out of this.
You know what? I think there is cat races nowadays, and they aren't based on this. So.
No, I forget what they're called, but there's definitely a cat race.
Yeah, they got a name. I can't remember what it is.
Well, it was in the Fiend Folio. They start with an R.
No, there's in New D&D. There's just like the
is there
dragon people. Yeah. Anyways,
yeah,
Jack.
not like a Rakshasa, but
No.
they're called.
We'll never know. Please comment below. Tell us what they're called nowadays. Jack, what is your first ad? You're done, right, Pat? No more.
Yes, those are all my articles.
Page 73 of the PDF.
Oh, good. It's not the ad I was going to say. Star Warrior.
This is how you do an ad.
It's pretty good. Is this a video game?
Yes,
it is a video game. It's made by Epix. I remember buying Epix for the Atari.
I guarantee you it doesn't look anything like this, but this isn't some
$40 on cassette. Jeez.
This isn't some reskinning or even cheap knockoffs of different sci-fi. They had a real artist. It looks like it could even be a folio. I can't tell 100%, but real artist, it inspires the imagination. I would, if I saw this, I would be like, oh, I understand it's just
it makes
marketing.
me crink my neck though.
Oh, because of the text. Oh, all askew. But no, it looks like or maybe a Bashki. Maybe either way, I love the art style. I like the action, the whole thing. I would purchase this game based on this ad, and it's the first time I've seen an ad in a long, long time in this magazine that I was like, oh, yeah, I could go for that.
I'm really curious what this game looked like. Like you said, no way it had anything to do with any of these pictures. It's probably little
No.
dots on the screen and
Yeah, it's going to be a Stratego-esque game on a hex map with things that you can tell these ones are tanks and these ones are hover ships, and they'll just move around. Onboard speakers making blipping and blopping sounds.
bleeping and blopping sounds.
Old Epics, I remember that company.
One of the classic.
Yeah, I had some Atari games and some Trash 80 games from them.
Yep, this is comes on Apple II, Trash 80, and Atari. Yep, Atari computer, not Atari.
Oh, later on, when the Atari 2600 comes out, they make 2600.
Yeah, this is Atari 32K, which I assume is the computer. Yeah, Pat, you have any ads?
I do. I have one. Page 7.
I got one of this one too. Escape from New York.
Escape from New York, the exciting new family board game.
Yeah. If one thing that Escape New York says, it's a family board game.
Now, the thing is, I didn't know TSR had the license to this and that they actually made a board game for it. And so in my notes, I put must look for it. And so I went to eBay and I looked, and it doesn't look like this cover, but there's a game out, and right now it's more than 100, less than 200.
Oh,
because it's got two different things. It's got retro gamers and it's got Escape from New York fans. Anytime there's something that has two different or more different contacts, it gets more expensive.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what this game would be like. I assume it's terrible, but do you think it's just a roll and move?
I think so. It's probably like a dungeon crawler in a sense. But you're using city blocks, and you're moving through city blocks and buildings.
I think you're giving it way too much credit. I bet it's a static board. It's almost like a Game of Life, but
that's what I'm talking about. It's a pre-printed board in a dungeon crawl sense. You're moving figs around in a pre-printed board.
I don't even think there's figures. It's probably standees.
Well, standees.
Yeah, fun times. That's one of mine. Another one of mine would be on page 57.
But that game takes place in the far, far distant future of 1997. So
it's true.
It's going to blow your mind.
I am the dog.
57. This ad is for Oregon Trail.
I saw that.
Exciting new role-playing board game. Obviously predates the video game, if you can call it that, or it's pretty much the same time. But my question is, in the board game, can you die of dysentery?
You must be able to.
Was that just something that was a video game thing? Maybe maybe it wasn't ever in the original board game. I assume the board game came first. I don't think
the video game came before.
You think so? It's 1981.
I don't spend money.
I don't know. 1981. That's pretty early.
And it does. You would think you would say based on the award-winning or based on the ever-popular, it would make an allusion.
Unless it's a coincidence, they're both just called Oregon Trail. It's got nothing to do with the other.
Possibly.
The Oregon Trail educational computer game. The first game was really developed by Don blah 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 and Bill blah 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 in 1971.
Oh, it's that old, eh? Yeah. So there you go. So this board game's stealing off of Oregon Trail. But
or is a licensed property.
It went to the Apple II in 1978.
So it's definitely out there by this point.
Yeah. And on floppy disk in 1980.
So Oregon Trail. Now we know the answer. Video game came first. Anybody got more ads or articles?
And then if they didn't include the dysentery, then that's just an oversight.
Dysentery is very important.
It is. I have no more ads.
Jack?
No, I'm done.
Okay, that'll wrap up another issue, the 50th, big time 50th issue. We have some questions, answer them below. I don't remember what they were, but I remember saying, write your answer below. So
yes.
Watch the whole episode to figure out that one. Till next week, I've been Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I've been Chopper.
We'll be back. Please like, share, subscribe. Get our name out there.
Hit the
We need
bell.
help. Bell doesn't do anything. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.